Finals focus, we look at a semi-final clash on Friday night at Allianz Stadium between Cronulla and the North Queensland Cowboys. Cowboys far too good for the Knights in their elimination final, and the Sharks given a decent old belting by the Melbourne Storm. Can they recover from that? They've lost 7 finals in a row, including all 4 under their current coach Fitzgibbon, so it's going to be a challenge for them to respond, although some of the numbers do point in their favour. They wanted this game at PointsBet Stadium, as you would imagine, but despite lobbying, the league decided that they wanted to play it at Allianz Stadium, slightly bigger capacity, so a home state final for Cronulla rather than a home ground final, and we'll look at all of that on our finals focus. The stats that matter for the Cronulla Sharks, and it is completion rates. They made far too many errors in the early part of the game last week against the Storm, and were always going to be made to pay. It gave the Storm momentum and confidence, and then they ran away completely in the second half to win 37-10. But the Sharks only going at 78%. That's not going to win you many finals, certainly not finals against a team of that calibre, so they've got to find a way to hang on to the ball. So the player that matters for the Cronulla Sharks, we always talk about Nicho Hynes at this stage of a season, but Blake Brayley is where we're going to be looking here. Only had the 1 run out of the dummy half last week against the Storm. Just lacked a little bit of that imagination and flair to take on a side like that, and he's going to have to find a few avenues and get those weapons really firing if they are going to be a chance to fight off the informed Cowboys. Well, the key to this battle, stats-wise, for the Cowboys centres around the blend between attack and defence. The Sharks' phenomenal defensive team. The Cowboys ranked 3rd for scoring behind only the Storm and the Roosters, but they are the lowest ranked defensive team of all of the sides that played finals this year, which is generally not a cornerstone of success. So they're going to have to make sure all of those offensive weapons are up and firing against this Sharks defence. They're ranked 3rd last for offloads in the competition this season. They're going to have to start getting the ball pinging around to try to break through that Sharks defence, who can be quite frugal despite last week's heavy score against. Key player for the Cowboys, Scott Drinkwater, 172 metres, couple of try assists last time these two sides met. It's a common theme that the Sharks defend well and the Cowboys need their attacking weapons firing. Hardly plays a bad game, and he's the one that can potentially put some pressure on them and maybe put some early scores on the board, which might make the Sharks a little nervous after last week. Well, there are a few layers to the history here. The Cowboys' away record is one that we will focus on. They're 9-12 in away finals. However, they've won 6 of their last 8 on the road. That record was 3-10 in finals, but they're now starting to find ways in the last 8 to 10 years to take their form on the road in the finals. Of course, they've been a consistent feature here, 9 finals appearances in 14 seasons. The Sharks have dominated the head-to-head record between these sides, 15 of the last 20 and 19 out of 25 in New South Wales. However, the Cowboys have won 2 of the last 3 finals played in Sydney between the sides. So there's a few things that suggest that the Cowboys might be on track to overturn those poor road records. Well, these sides have met twice this season and they've gone according to venue, the Sharks winning the clash in Sydney earlier in the year. And they met in round 21 with the Cowboys getting up 30-22. Of course, no Nicho Hynes in the lineup for the Sharks on that occasion, and he's always the talk in terms of his influence in finals. But so far it has gone according to the home side, and the Sharks will be very keen to make sure that's the case a 3rd time. Well, a lot of what we've spoken about here would suggest the Cowboys have a lot of confidence, and they probably should, but the one stat that we always go back to is that defensive record. Defensive sides win finals and defensive sides win flags, and unfortunately for the Cowboys, they generally play a style that's more conducive to winning shootouts, and I get the feeling the Sharks will be extra vigilant on the back of some of the errors they made last week, and they'll just be able to squeeze the Cowboys enough to get the job done here in a pretty close one and work their way into a preliminary final against Penrith. A reminder, zerotackle.com, the NRL Finals Hub. Check that out before and after each match for the remainder of the season for the full previews, reviews and action.